All right. Guys talking pies.
Just 3 guys, 2 pies. What more do you need?
I don't know. This is all because of what you did for your customers last year.
Yeah. So we did an event last year for Thanksgiving. Bought everybody pies. They came in and got them. We had a little party. So this kind of came from that, I guess.
Yeah. Devolved in the comment section, I think.
Yeah.
Degenerate people in the comment section just hanging out, making fun of ourselves. I think it's a very important thing to be able to make fun of yourself a little bit.
I mean, I'm a strong proponent.
Yeah. So it was all customers, right?
Yeah,
Clients.
all clients, past clients, and some people that we work with too in the business, colleagues and things like that.
So how many pies was that for you last year?
Ooh, I think we bought like 90 pies.
90 pies?
Yeah,
What does
a lot of
90 pies run?
It was a good investment, but it's a give back.
Yeah.
You know? So it was worth it. People enjoyed it. The pies are great from Copper Crust, which also helps a lot. So
All right, Copper Crust pies. We did the sour cherry and the apple.
yep.
All right. You guys have some experience with these pies personally. I've never had one.
Yeah.
Not a
So-
Copper Crust pie.
You got my favorite. I'm not gonna say which one it is yet, but
Okay.
my favorite is on the table.
I'm glad to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big dessert guy just in general. I'm like, when it comes to sugar, I'm on it. I'm not
Okay.
one of those keto. Oh, no. Bread, pie, pasta. It's all too good. Potatoes.
I've been known to indulge in a few of those
I
things.
mean, every now and then. Well, people ask me, they're like, as a fitness guy, like, how do you feel about carbs? I'm like, they're delicious.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you don't want them.
So what is the deal? Just limit how much, or
Yeah, just limit how much you eat.
Yeah.
You fuck. Like, just,
that's what.
what are you doing? Like, you don't have to eat till you're sick every time. It's a very, and I like America. I love America. It's the best country in the world, best country ever. But our culture around food is like, eat till you're sick.
Right.
And like, if you just eat, like, it's portion control. It really boils down to that. Like, I mean, if you want to eat carbs, that's great. Eat carbs, but then, you know what I mean? Eat a moderate amount and then go and work out.
Right.
Like the next day, you get a huge pump when you're full of carbs. Like pie is a great pre-lift food. It's high sugar, it's high glycemic. Now it's not the best. I wouldn't say before you go work out, eat a slice of pie. But like if you're going to go lift and your goal is to build muscle, then yeah, a high sugary food that's going to be quickly digested is great, because all those carbs are going to go into your bloodstream. It'll convert to glycogen. You'll be able to lift. You get a better pump. Now, if you're a weight loss client, I would not suggest that. But even like when it comes to holidays, I had this one weight loss client. He lost 110-ish pounds in like 14 months. Crushed it.
Okay.
Around to the point where he was eating like radishes for lunch every day. Like he just went all in on everything I told him to do. I didn't tell him the radish thing. He just really likes radishes and he took it upon himself. But like his it was either his son's wedding or like Thanksgiving came around, and he was like, what do I do when I go to like Thanksgiving or this wedding? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, what about my diet? And I was like, it's a holiday. Fuck your diet.
Yeah.
Your diet is irrelevant right now. Like, don't go and engorge yourself like a slob, but don't, if somebody hands you wedding cake, eat it. At least eat half of it.
Yeah.
Eat a bite and enjoy it. They paid $500 for that cake. You might as well take a bite, dude. Like, it's going to be delicious. You're going to have a good time. And if you don't, it's also rude. It's like when you go to somebody's house and they're like, hey, do you want water? And you're like, no. You're like,
say yes.
I just say yes. Just take the water. It costs nothing.
Right.
Like, it's a glass of water.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Well, I feel less bad about these gigantic slices of pie on my plate then now.
Yeah.
And I could work out after.
Yeah, I just skipped the workout part.
I just go straight for the
I just got pumped.
yeah, I'm pumped for the
All
ball.
pre-workout, yeah.
So I skipped it over. But yeah, so I'm Tom, A&M Friendly Movers, Matt with House of Gains, and Kevin with the Cartwright Group.
Yep.
Also part of Inch & Co. Real Estate.
Yep.
So,
Thanks for having us.
yeah, absolutely. Just a couple guys trying to talk about what makes business great. 3 entrepreneurs that have been able to do a little something extra.
We've done some things.
Get a little bit of market share.
So far, so good.
Yeah,
We got more coming.
That's right.
I think so. What do you have on the horizon this year, Kev?
For me, just growing the team a little bit, focusing on getting them off the ground and continuing to grow that really has been the main focus. I've taken a small step back in my personal business a little bit, and just because I'm focusing more time and energy on newer agents and helping them grow and mentoring them. So it's been an interesting kind of a different balance this year than it has in the past. But
That's cool. How many people on the
enjoying
team
it.
now?
There's 7 of us.
Jesus.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That happened kind of quick.
It did. Yeah. It happened quickly. Escalated quickly. It was never my goal to have a team.
Okay.
But I was kind of approached with the opportunity, and it's been awesome. I haven't really tried to recruit anyone. Everyone's wanted to join, and it's been people coming to me and asking to be a part of it. So that's been cool. But yeah, it's a whole different world of responsibilities.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
So 90 pies last year, 7 people on the
Yeah,
team.
we gotta set some money aside. Budget. The pie budget's growing for sure.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
What's the benefit to being on a real estate team?
So it depends. There's some different systems and ways to look at it. Mentorship, leads, learning. I mean, you have people that potentially are brand new, don't know how to open a lockbox. You know what I mean? Don't know how to use Bright or MLS or anything like that. So, there's different things that different people take away from it. There's people that have been in the business for a while but do it part-time that just need a little bit more guidance and marketing and things like that. I feel that joining a team, you can kind of use the team success and help everybody grow. Tide rises all ships. So it's like, if you're part of a team, anyone else's success, even if you're slow, you're still able to kind of piggyback on what other people are working on and doing. But the biggest part for mine would be the mentorship and the teaching. I'm not from York, Pennsylvania. I'm from Jersey. And so I had to kind of build it from the ground up here. So my mentality is that I'm not going to just like feed you a bunch of leads and have you run around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Right.
I want to try to teach them how to, build it from the ground up as well. And they keep their independence throughout it. They're able to put things in their name and kind of grow their own business independently within the team. And that helps the team. It helps them. So it's not like everything's just the Cartwright Group. These guys are able to,
Have their own brand, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. And I think that helps everybody.
It's like an entrepreneurship then.
Yes. Would you use that? Yes. Yes.
You ever hear that before?
No.
So there's 3 types of entrepreneurs. There's your standard entrepreneur. That's a person who sees a need in the market or a business that they want to start that they would be successful at, and they brand it, they invest into it, and they run it, and then they develop systems and hire people and create a company out of it. Then there's intrapreneurs. So an intrapreneur is somebody who is already inside of another company, but that company recognizes them essentially as somebody who could be an entrepreneur, probably doesn't want the responsibilities that come with being the guy that owns the thing.
Right.
Because when you're the guy that owns the thing, or woman or whatever,
Individual.
into the person,
Individual.
the
Person's
the non,
essentially-
yeah, the they
entity.
that owns the thing. You are then tasked with all the responsibilities. You get all the late night phone calls. You get all the bullshit,
And liability.
and the liability and the risk. An entrepreneur is somebody who could do those things, but is better suited to utilize tools and systems within an existing company to expand. Basically, you're allowing them to spread their wings and giving them the opportunity to grow on their own pace within the company.
Yeah.
To an extent. And then there's wantrepreneurs. Wantrepreneurs are people who talk about starting a business, but never
Yeah.
or people who like sort of have a side hustle for 20 years but never actually do anything with it. They say they're an entrepreneur, but like you never took any real risk. I don't feel like, and that's gonna butt hurt some people, but until you're ready to take the risk, you're not. Entrepreneurs are people who are taking a significant amount of risk all the time.
Right.
So I don't want to muddy up that language. So if you're not getting into it, you're still an entrepreneur, and that's fine. That's totally cool. It's a side hustle,
Right.
like you're not the CEO.
Fine. What do you think the biggest risk it was that you took going into entrepreneurship?
Besides financial ruin,
If you view it that way, sure.
I mean, like when I opened up the second location, I mean, I was signing a 5-and-5 lease that I had to sign a personal guarantee for. I invested close to 6 figures in the build out. It's 6 months worth of work and a ton of branding. And if it didn't go well, it would have collapsed me financially and ruined the entire company. It would have embarrassed me publicly, and I don't really know if I would have ever been able to recover from that, because if you can't open the second location, chances are there's never going to be a third either. So it's like, well, if the second one didn't work, you might as well just quit now. So for me, the biggest risk was everything. Like I've doubled down every year since I started it. So like I took money off the table during COVID because I was like, ooh, I don't know what's going on here. Plus I'd been in business for 6 years at that time. And I was like, all right, I got to take some for my personal security at this point. Like I want to pay myself a little bit. So I did. But like, if you make mistakes, like you're the one holding the bag, you hold all the risk. Like my employees mess something up, I'm the one that pays for the product. Like I'm the one that pays the extra shipping or whatever. So that's one of the biggest one. Plus, I try to not look at it as like a waste, but like hypothetically, if this company folds tomorrow, the last 7 years of my life, I could have been in school to be a doctor.
I don't know that you had the bedside manner, but I mean,
no, different type of doctor. Yeah. Physical therapist.
There you go.
So I mean, that's the risk part of it. What about the reward?
The reward is freedom. It boils down to freedom. Like I'm not good at people telling me what to do. I'm not good at listening to other people, their opinions or anything like that. If I ask for it, I'll listen because I asked for it. Obviously I should listen. Sure. But the ability to be like, nah, like Matt, you need to do this. Nah. What do you mean no? Oh, are you my boss? No. Right. Well then pound sand. I'm not obligated to listen to you. You don't pay my bills. Like, so that's the benefit to it. Plus scalability. Like I want to be able to develop entrepreneurs. So like I want to not only the freedom, there's not only the freedom, but like the ability to move other people's lives in a positive direction. So like if I can get people, if I can grow this company to a point where it's an enterprise, well, I can put people in a position to succeed on their own under my umbrella. So my goal is I realized it a few years ago, and figuring out how to implement that in retail and e-com is difficult. But like there's an old saying, which is you get, you get rich doing it all yourself, but you'll get wealthy making other people rich.
Yeah.
So I look at it like that. I want to get into a position where I can make other people rich. And I'm neither rich nor wealthy, but that's my end goal.
Lots of freedom though.
Lots of freedom. I can do whatever. It's 1:30 in the afternoon on a Monday and I'm eating pie.
Yeah, not a better way to spend a Monday.
No, yeah. So what about you?
What about me? I'm not much. I mean, I guess I started as an entrepreneur with an entrepreneurial spirit. I got a couple partners in what we do. I don't view risk the same way as other people. I don't really calculate financial ruin as something that needs to be worried about. I've had it and I haven't had it, and I don't have a ton of it now, but I mean, not having it doesn't really bother me. So like the financial risk, I'm not risk adverse in any sense of the matter. No. So it's easy for me to kind of just take those leaps of faith. You know, I remember when we were getting started with this 4 years ago, I was still working a retail job and I was making really good money doing it. And my partner, Matt, you guys know Matt, he's like, don't quit your job until everything's going right. And, we just want to make sure that you don't want everything. And all that responsibility that you take on being an entrepreneur, bringing other people in, right? Your team leads, everybody counts on you. And I remember I was about a week and a half in and the phone rang, the business phone rang, the new business line rang. And I stopped what I was doing at my regular job and I got up and answered the phone. And I walked back, I finished the transaction. When I was done, I wrote my letter of resignation because I know for me, I want to be all the way in with something. Right? Yeah. Ron Swanson, why half-ass two things when you can whole-ass one thing? I am a whole ass, so I wanted to be all the way in with what we were doing. And I walked away from what I was doing and took a significant pay cut.
You were freedom. Beginning.
Yeah, I mean, for the freedom. I still, this year, I'll probably be back to what I was making previously. I mean, the money's secondary, right? Yeah. Last year or so, what's happened for me is it's opened up a lot of opportunity. What I've been doing in business has given me an opportunity to like kind of help and support some nonprofits in the area that I'm in, and kind of speak to them about marketing, right? Like I was on a council not too long ago speaking about marketing, nonprofit versus for-profit world. which for those of you in nonprofit, there's really no difference.
Yeah.
If you're running a nonprofit like a for-profit business, you might be able to reach more people.
Yeah.
And that was really kind of the conclusion that we came to. So for me, I mean, the risk, I don't see it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the way my mentality doesn't allow me to see it as risk. It's just opportunity, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I think that's probably the difference between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur, is being able to look at the risk, mitigate it in your mind, and be able to move forward knowing that whatever happens, it'll kind of be all right. Yeah.
So you can control it to the best of your ability, but at the end of the day, like it's when I opened Lancaster, I just looked at it as this has to work. There is no plan B.
Yeah.
I will do whatever it takes to make this work, because if it doesn't, I don't know what else I'll do.
Burn the boats.
Burn the boats.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of burn the boats.
Yeah.
Like even right now, like I get distracted and I'm like, oh, I could do this. Oh, I could do this. And then I'm like sitting back and I'm like, but I'm already doing this one thing really, really well. Why do I want to do another thing? Like, and complicate it and muddy up the waters and make everything convoluted and divert money that so do I want to take, you know what I mean, X amount of dollars and put it into a new thing with all the work that comes along with it? Or where I know I have a way better ROI is just dump it into my company. Like, so for me, it's like, all right, it's like buying studio equipment and a new location and, I mean, better advertising or upgrading our packaging or upgrading our flavors or lowering prices, you know what I mean? Any way that I can drive new customers into the business as opposed to starting a new business. And I'm a big fan of Hormozy in that sense. I don't know if you follow Alex Hormozy stuff at all.
Not so much.
He talks about if you're trying to chase 5 rabbits, you're probably going to starve.
Makes sense.
Like, so it's better to just focus on one rabbit entirely, and you'll probably catch it.
It's kind of my experience. Yeah.
Mhm.
It is, people are always coming with, what, did you ever think about doing this? No. And
Yeah.
I think the reason why I don't think about doing the other thing is because I'm only thinking about
Right.
pie today.
Yeah.
But, I'm always thinking about doing the thing that I have. You know what I mean? As
Improving that.
right as I can,
Yeah.
and it takes a long time to work out the kinks.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon as you get the kinks worked out, they find a new kink.
Yeah. There's always something new that comes up every time.
It seems that way. Seems that way.
So the rest of the question. I don't remember.
And,
I think you sent it to me.
I did send
I
it
feel
to
like
you.
we should try the pie at least.
Yeah.
I'm
get into
for some pie. I'm pro pie.
So from the gate, there's apple and sour cherry.
Yeah.
From the gate, I was excited about the sour cherry. If you've ever had Black Forest cake, German authentic Black Forest cake with sour cherries, can't beat it.
So yeah, same type of setup there.
Mm-hmm. So we got, what are the key ingredients for a successful pie recipe and a thriving business strategy? Now, keep in mind, 3 of us are not bakers. We've never made a pie in our lives. We're a buy the pie kind of guys.
Yeah.
Like,
So I don't know. I mean, I think key ingredient for business. I love the marketing piece, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's huge. I also like some of your kind of like non-traditional. I know what I'll get on a paid marketing piece, right? Like I know what the return is on that. I know if I spend X amount of dollars doing this, X amount of return will come out of it. So and it kind of goes back to the risk piece. I like the riskier stuff where you don't know what the return's going to be.
Mhm.
You got to try it. Yeah.
Showing up to the networking events, doing videos, talking about pies, taking a chance where other people might not have seen an opportunity before to kind of see what's going on and something a little bit different.
Mhm.
So I mean, I think the key ingredient to successful business is taking the risk, looking at. I don't know. I don't know if anybody's had a brand new idea about how to market something, but like maybe different than what people in your industry are doing. Maybe taking borrowing from someplace else and seeing if it translates.
Yeah, I mean, you can pull ideas that work, like my industry, fitness. There's ideas that work in Florida and California that have never touched this area. So sometimes I look at it, I'm like, all right, what's going on in California fitness model? And then a lot of times that translates into 2 or 3 years later hitting the East Coast. So I'm like, all right, let's try some West Coast shit and integrate it over here. And that works. For me, it looked as far as key ingredients to making a successful business pie is you have to already know what you're baking before you start. So like a lot of times people will start a business and like I didn't know what my company was going to be like when I first started it, but I knew what I wanted the company to feel like. You know what I mean? Okay. So that was my only place to start. But if you're trying to start a business or run a business and you don't know what your end goal is, like you're screwed from the beginning, because you're gonna mess around like I was for three years when I first started the company. I was bouncing around, you know what I mean, trying different things out. Didn't even really want to get into retail. Wanted to do manufacturing more, and then I realized that all that those were terrible pies. Sure. And I wanted to just do what I'm good at, which is the retail side of things. So if you don't know what you're doing prior to doing it, you don't know what ingredients to buy. Right. You don't know how to start, what to preheat the oven at. Like there's a lot of factors that go in to making sure that you're following a recipe as opposed to just Chef Ramsay in the kitchen, like just flour, sugar, I don't know, baking soda, I guess. Like
make it rise.
Yeah. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. So there's a lot of trial and error in it. You're gonna make a lot of crappy pies.
Knowing what the exit strategy is, right? I mean,
I'm big on that. Making sure businesses should always be built to sell. You don't necessarily want to build your business with the intent of selling it, but your business should always be built to sell.
Yeah. What's your exit strategy, Kev?
My exit strategy, I guess, will be to keep growing the team until it's self-sufficient enough that I could take a step back, at some point. I mean, it's really not even on my radar yet. Like this is all pretty new, and I'm enjoying it a lot. So with the team not even being my goal, like exiting is definitely not on the radar, but it's kind of developing in a certain way, and I've found a new purpose. Our purpose has always been, to just help people and help clients the best that we can, making a huge purchase in their lives. But now I'm able to do that, but also help agents help people too, and train them correctly and help them and get them set up the best that they're going to be able to provide the same service. So I don't know. It's been a paradigm shift a little bit in my head on what that business and what my purpose and job is. But regardless, the key has always just been, how can you help? How can you help people? At the end of the day, if that's been our focus, you keep that the main thing in the service industry, then you really can't go wrong.
You got some muddy water headed your way, though, huh?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how all that shakes out. I don't see it being much of a big deal.
No.
The NAR stuff.
Why here in Pennsylvania specifically?
Yeah, so I don't think.
Tell the people the truth.
They deserve
it.
They want us to change a bunch of things that we weren't doing anything wrong to begin with. So there was some different states that weren't disclosing certain figures and certain commission rates and things like that, and making things sound like they were standard. In PA, we've always written, what the commission is going to be on our listing contracts and our buyers agencies, and they've always been negotiable. They've always been negotiable. So there's nothing that we were doing that calls for this big change. We're going to have to rework a couple things on how buyers agents can get paid. It sounds like potentially.
And really, it's just a negotiation, which it's always been.
That's right.
And it's always been available.
Right.
Right. You guys get a lot of support from the state organizations. They'll have the forms and everything like that ready for you. So from the agent side, it's not too much. Maybe some more education.
Yeah, some more education, signing things early, and often being overly communicative on what commissions are going to look like, what's negotiable, how everything's working. I think you have to be like way more upfront than we have been. By upfront, I mean like bringing it up earlier in the conversation. It's always been brought up, but I just think like you kind of have to lead with it now. Like, hey, this is where we're at.
In the news, it's on people's minds.
Yeah, which is it's understandable. But yeah, I think we're going to find our way. It's not going to be a huge deal. If there's people in the industry that want to get all worked up and they'd like to be dramatic, but I don't see it being a huge deal for us.
Yeah, not a lot changes in Pennsylvania. I mean, buyer agencies came about in the mid '90s in PA and kind of always been ahead of the curve as far as that goes in real estate.
Yeah, we'll find our way.
Have you had clients ask you about it?
I haven't.
No.
It's it's literally been a non-issue for me so far. So we've had meetings about it. We're kind of, we're learning a lot. We're getting some information, but we still don't know enough to make a final solution yet.
Right. Well, the lawsuit's never even.
Nothing's finalized until July at the earliest.
Right. So there's some plans and some things that we may do, but we got to figure out what's going on first before we make our solution. But yeah, it hasn't changed business. It's been business as usual this whole time.
Business is booming in the spring for you guys.
Yes,
huh?
It is very busy. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
He sells them, you move them.
That's right. We sell them, we move.
We don't mind that. We don't mind that. I was, you can do your job without me. It'd be really hard for me to do my job without
Right.
you. Yeah. My guys need everything that you offer.
Yeah.
Right. On the recovery side.
We always have moving companies coming and buying energy drinks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys who've moved from the energy drinks to like just the pre-workout,
Just rubbing it on their gums.
just dry scooping in the parking lot.
Nice.
You got to move a couch. I wouldn't be able to do that uncaffeinated either.
Right. You should give them some smelling salts too for the truck.
Oh yeah, dude, right before they lift like a seat or or something like that.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be stopping by the store on the way out.
I'll have one here. I'll give them to you.
There
You
we
can take
go.
it.
Well,
Give me belts too.
Yeah, I have a few guys who wear belts. Our industry's changing that way. We've got some people who are a little bit more conscious about taking care of their bodies as they go through. It's
That's a hard job, dude.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay me. I don't know what movers make, but you couldn't pay me enough.
I think we pay fair.
Yeah. That's how I started.
Yeah, but even like roofers,
Yeah,
like
but here's
somebody's
the
like,
thing.
Matt, you're a big guy. You should do construction. I'm like, bro, I've been on a roof.
Yeah.
There's
No problem.
$200 an hour is not enough.
All my guys
That's way
think
more than roofers get paid.
all my guys think we pay fair until they're too ready to leave. Then it's not right.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, I would get guys a call all the time. Like, I go to the gym all the time. I think I can do it. I'm like, all right, can you lift your hands above your head?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, it's a 50-50 question. I mean, if you're really into some of that stuff that you guys do, if you can't get your hands above your head, it's going to be hard to be a mover.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a certain aspect where it gets cut off. You're going to be in too good a shape to be a mover, maybe?
No, that's actually. So, fun fact, I am what my friend Joey used to call big for nothing. And it was when I was bartending and got into personal training and powerlifting. And I mean, I was deadlifting. I think my best deadlift was like 7 or 750, something like that. And he's like, "Why are you lifting all these weights and training all this stuff when you're basically a waitress?" And he's like, "What are you trying out for world's strongest waitress or something?" Like, 'cause I was carrying a keg from the back to refill the bar. And I was like, first of all, I'm a bartender, not a waitress. Second of all, shut up. But I had a friend of mine. He helped me dig a power line from my garage to my house. Well, I helped him. I hired him as an electrician. He was like, "Well, I don't have a laborer." And I was like, "I have hands. I'll dig the trench." And so I'm out there digging the trench and feeding the line, and I am dying, dude. Like just, I'm an hour in, and I'm fried. And he's like, "Well, that gym didn't correlate over to manual labor." And I'm like, "No." Like I was doing yard work for 9 hours this weekend. I woke up Sunday morning just like someone hit me with a bat.
You use all different muscles than you used to.
Yep.
You're working for longer. It's not picking something up 10 times.
No, because I just do
I was
repetitive.
picking up something 10 times.
This is me.
10 times, right?
10 more
a lot
times.
of reps. Yeah.
I was telling people all the time, they're like, the guy seems like they're getting slower at the end of the day. I'm like, well, imagine if you went to the gym
Yeah.
and
Right.
didn't take a break between sets
For
for
10 hours.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You said you started on a truck?
I did, yeah.
Who were you with?
Yeah. So I was working. I don't even remember Rick. Remember Ricky
I remember
G?
Ricky. Yeah, my man. Ricky and Marco.
That's right, Marco too. Yeah, Marco had a company, and me and Ricky were moving, and we did this big ass house in Mechanicsburg. And I was wearing a Philly shirt, I remember, and started hitting it off with the homeowner, talking baseball and stuff. And by the end of it, he liked me and offered me a job. And,
Really?
Yeah.
That's how you ended up in Hinge?
That's how I ended up in real estate.
Okay.
He was the COO of Burke's Homes,
Okay.
and paid for my real estate classes, licensing, everything. I, was in between jobs doing moving jobs to get by. Just got an apartment, just got a dog. I'm like, now and then lost my job, and I started doing that. And so yeah, I met him. He just like totally hooked me up and absolutely gifted me a career.
That's amazing.
And that's how I got into it. And new construction was a really good place to start because
It is.
I was able to have a salary. I was able to have benefits. I was able to have 401k, all that stuff, be a W-2 employee, but also learn, contracts, learn construction, how a house is built, learn how to show a house, learn the MLS, learn how to work with other agents, learn about mortgages. I was able to learn everything about real estate kind of from a safe position.
Yeah.
So then from making the jump from there to resale, just residential resale, was a lot smoother.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I probably meet half a dozen guys a year, when I'm out at like a networking event. It's always a high ranking, like C-level executive, you know what I mean? And they're like, I did that for a summer once, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, yeah. And he's like, I wouldn't have to, again, you couldn't pay me enough to do it again. Again, I hope we pay well enough, but a lot of it's, yeah, man, it's wild. Because I've worked on a couple different sides of the real estate ventures as well. I did sales for a while. I did rentals. I've done property management. Worked in mortgages.
Yep.
I like where I landed. It's probably one of the more stressful things for the client. But like least stressful for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because the transaction period is shorter. You know what I mean? Like, we talked to them early on. You're settled. This is the date you're moving. We'll be out there. We'll get it. We're there for a day, and then we're gone. Everybody else, it's weeks,
a long process.
Months, years sometimes in this market, right?
It's a good thing most of the time. You build these relationships, and then they trust you, and then they're able to send you their family, and you're able to help them sell that house that you helped them buy 5 years ago, and continue on that way. So
you've been in it for a while. How much repeat and referral? Where are you as far as repeat?
More now. So I started at Inch & Co. When we first started.
Right.
I was the first agent there about 3 years ago. And so now is when the ball is starting to turn on the repeat. I mean, I did get repeat from the new construction.
Right.
Made a bunch of relationships there. So when it was time for them to sell their brand new townhouse that I sold them or whatever, they call. But now I'm starting to get the ball rolling on resale that I sold them. Now it's time to move up to the next house. Or, hey, we had a kid. Yeah. Cash in on the equity for sure is a big reason right now. So that's starting to snowball, which is nice.
Is that something you guys measure? Repeat, referral? I mean, there's that. For us, I mean, that's a big part of. That's a huge metric for marketing that you measure. I mean, we're at 70% repeat referral.
That's great,
which is unheard of in 4 years. Well, you just heard it now, so it is heard of. But yeah, 4 years we went 70. We're a little over 70% repeat referral. Then
so I don't really. I spend money on advertising, but in the beginning, now I do because I understand it. But in the beginning, I had no concept of how advertising worked, like especially digital advertising. So I started by doing guerrilla marketing, just going around and talking to people face to face as much as I possibly could. And then everything I've done is off of repeat customers. So referrals, stuff like that. That's the name of the game. Like sometimes, like at the stage I'm at now, it's still equally as important as it ever was. But I can capture new audiences without them ever even knowing who I am. Like I would say in the beginning, 100% of my customers were buying. I knew 100% of my customers.
Buying that lane.
Right.
Who sells that stuff.
Yeah. I'll even walk into my store sometimes and people have no idea who I am.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing because it means that I built a business that can operate without me.
You've grown bigger than just your sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
While still I get a lot of repeat customers because like one of my best examples is right after we opened the York store, I had a guy come in with product from a company that was previously in the area. They closed and he was like, hey, I bought all this stuff. They told me I didn't take it. I came back, they're closed. It's been like 6 months now. Can you tell me what else I need to buy? Because they said I got this, but I have to come back and buy all this other stuff. And I looked at it and I was like, well, they oversold you one, so you don't need most of this. However, you can take this if you spread it out like this, and then you don't need to buy anything in between. You can just move from one to the other. And he was like, I came in here with the intent of spending $150. And I was like, right, but you don't have to because you already spent more than you needed to in the first place.
Yeah.
And I don't see a reason to try and like sell you on anything else. And he was like, so I came in here to spend $150. You could have easily, blindly just taken advantage of me and sold it to me. And I was like, and he was like, you just started this business. It's obvious, like you're the owner, you're working here. This place is kind of a dump. And I could see it in his eyes. You know what I mean?
The unspoken.
And he was like, and you're sending me out with nothing in my hands. And I was like, and he was like, all right. Came back 2 weeks later, bought like $400 worth of stuff, bought energy drinks for his coworkers. He bought like 6 months worth of protein powder and carbohydrates. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was just like, you didn't lie to me. Yeah. He was like, you were honest with me, and you could have got me on that, but you didn't. And so in turn, I'm buying half a year's supply worth of stuff, and I'm telling everybody to come here. That's awesome. Because there's trust. That's why none of my employees are commission based. Yeah. Because like when it comes to health and fitness, I don't feel like people should be making decisions for customers based off of financial gain. Sure. You know what I mean? They should make the decision that's going to best suit the customer. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that in real estate. I've seen that in other stuff too, where people are like, all right, well, the amount of money that we make is not as important as making sure that this person's taken care of correctly, because short term, because I always look at it, play the long term, always play the long term. There's short term like deals, like, oh, I got to do this now, right, like to make this money. But like the long-term perspective is, as long as I'm good to people and don't sell them crap or oversell them on anything and be honest from the gate, the referrals just flow like water. Yeah. Right?
That's the way to build it, and that's how you continue to grow. Mm-hmm. Like you're going to get a lifelong client now who trusts you and believes in you and tells everyone else, mm-hmm, versus you making $150 that one time. He might not ever come back.
Look at it like this. The lifetime value of so if somebody buys between $80 and $100 worth of stuff a month, so let's, for numbers' sake, say $100 a month. Okay. So that is $1,200 a year over the course of 10 years without factoring in inflation. That's $12,000. Do I want to make 12 grand or do I want to make 150?
Yeah, I like 12.
12 sounds way better.
Yeah. And it feels better.
And it feels better.
Yeah.
Dude. 12, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
150, sounds okay, but 12?
No, it just feels good that you help the person. It's like, all right, I was honest with this dude. He appreciates it. He's a good person. He respects it, and he's going to come back and help.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just like, that's how business should be done.
Maybe that's the ingredient.
Honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty is probably the secret ingredient in every business.
Integrity. You know, one of the.
You can make a lot of money in the short term by taking people over, but in the long term,
where's it going to leave you?
Eventually, people are going to recognize it. Eventually, with Buffett's saying when he's talking about leverage in the stock market, and he's like, when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming without shorts on.
I thought you were talking about Jimmy Buffett.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
He also swims in the tide.
But that also...
That was my grandfather. Be a bear, be a bull, just don't be a pig.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And all those old adages that, you know, you hear when you're a kid and it doesn't make any sense. Then all of a sudden, you know, you accidentally are doing something as a grown-up.
Well, to Matt's point earlier, too, I feel like that's a much easier decision to make if you've already figured out where you want to go and what you want to do and what direction you want to go in. Like, if you figured out, all right, I want to do this long-term, then I need to make these decisions on a daily basis to help get me there. Yeah. And the most important is going to be, like, helping taking care of people, being honest to them, and getting the return business.
Yeah, I would agree. Vote on pies?
I crushed that apple.
I saw you crush the apple. You went in.
And sour cherry is initially my favorite, but the crust,
wow,
it's the crumble on the
crumble on the apple was the hit.
So are we rating? Are we picking the best?
I don't know. I mean, there's no such. I mean, these were not bad pies.
No.
I can't. I feel like sometimes, like when in my industry, you do a lot of ratings. 8.9 out of 10. You know what I mean? Like
too much
energy drinks, like Dave Portnoy style, and
7.63.
Yeah. For us, so he has the flop, we have the fizz. So it's all about how much carbonation is here in this drink. So some drinks have too much carbonation, some drinks don't have enough. But when it comes to two things, it's like it's hard to rate. It's hard to rate when they're both great. If I was going to go the over-under today, I'm going apple. And I'm a sour cherry guy through and through.
I thought the crumble on the apple was the hitter. It made it the winner for me. I thought there was more fruit as well, and I'm a big fan of the fruit in the pie. So I'm also going to go apple.
So I came in here a cherry guy as well. I had some I had some inside intel from November when we bought 90 of them. So I knew how good the cherry was, and I was expecting that to be the one, but the underdog apple gets it for me today too.
There you go.
Yep.
Never count a good dog down.
Right.
Nope.
All right. Well, this was Guys Talking Pies.
It's 3 guys, 3 pies, 2
Thank you.
pies.
2 pies, 3 guys.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.